Today we're going to talk about a pen by this brand. I've covered that brand before. Monteverde, a world of luxury and innovation. And I was asked to do a review of this pen, and I checked it out, and I actually fell in love with it straight away. It wasn't too expensive, and I think it's quite nice. It's called the Mini Jewelria. Jewelria. I have no idea how you're supposed to pronounce that, but I'm going to try and show you the pen if I can muster all my cognitive abilities to open this box. Yes, there we are. Alright, so we get the cardboard sleeve, and we get some booklets. That's not really a booklet, it's just actually slips of paper. We got the Monteverde USA stuff with all their refills you can buy from them. We have the Monteverde International Limited Lifetime Warranty and a demonstration of how to assemble your pen. You get these nice boxes. I like the Monteverde boxes. They're simple, they're nice, and I like that green. I think it's a nice shade of green. Alright, we pop open the box, and be careful, it's a huge pen that's in there. Yeah, it's small. I probably, yes, I do. That's good. Just thinking I should probably show you a comparison to some other small pens. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm just grabbing another one. Yes, there we are. Alright, so we got the box. What else is in the box? You can pop out that little thing. And then you find this little cartridge holder, which is actually a pretty nice, sturdy thing. A lot of pens are shipped in this kind of thing when you have to send them out for servicing. But it's so we get 3 cartridges here. We get one blue one, and I think this, yes, that one is black. Then we get another black one. So we get 1 blue and 2 black cartridges. Then we have the actual pen, which is of course what you came for. Mini Jewelria. I'm just going to say Jewelria, not Jewelria, whatever. The Jewelria, funky little pen. This would be a TWSBI Mini. So as you can see, it's quite a bit smaller than a TWSBI Mini, and I'm going to explain why. And this would be a Rosetta Napoleon, which is also a bit bigger. Okay. I'm going to cover the parts of the pen, tell you what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and then I'll do a writing sample. Let's start with the top of the pen. On top of the pen, I'm not sure how well you can see that, but there is the, let me just do some zooming, focusing, etc. You see that nice mountain range? That's actually an M and a V, someone pointed out to me, and that's the logo of Monteverde. The word Monteverde is not on there, it's just the top of the cap. Alright, then, these come in a bunch of finishes. I got the brown one because I like that brown color a lot, which is what you see right there. I like that. You also got some black stuff on there, as you can see, and so if you don't like brown, there was a blue one. I think there were 1 or 2 other finishes, at least 1 other. Okay, so if you continue, we continue with the cap. You get the little clip. The clip has a very interesting shape, and the beauty of the thing is that it is spring-loaded, so you can just open it up like that, which I always love. The word Monteverde is right there on the, what you call that, the cap band, I don't know, the thing that keeps the clip in place. Monteverde USA, it's right there, Monteverde USA, and then you get this nice material, which I think is quite nice. And then you get what would usually be a center band, except it's not really on the cap, which has a nice texture, as you can see. Alright, so just for your, because it's a difficult pen to navigate because it's so small, so this was the cap end. Then we've got the center band, so this is all cap. This is where the barrel starts. Alright, you got the barrel, then you have those threads. Of course, they are for posting. I'll show you that in a second. And then you have this, well, it's not really a blind cap because it's just a cartridge-filled pen, but that's what you might describe it as to be like what it is. Anyway, the cap unscrews. Now the funny thing about this pen, and that's why it's so small, they did a smart thing. They made a very big cap and a small pen. So the cap, okay, when you see them side by side, they may not be as big, but the cap is a huge aspect of the pen. Look at how small the pen is, and then look at how big the cap is. Right? It's way more cap than you actually need. The reason for that is you can post it very securely with those threads, and for those of you who enjoy such things, the clip and the nib do actually align, so that's a nice thing. And once you assemble your pen like this, you actually have a pretty normally sized pen. It's not huge, but it's definitely big enough to be used comfortably, as you can see here. Unposted, I cannot use it. It just disappears in my hand, so it's not usable for me. All right. What about the nib? Monteverde has some nibs that are really actually have the Monteverde logo engraved in them. This one does not. This is one of the Iridium Point Germany nibs. We've seen these, I think, about 1,000,000 times before in these reviews now. And you know, that's all there's to it. I'll come back to the performance of the nib in a second. Here we have the section. As you can see, nicely tapered. Has some. This is plastic, black plastic, ends in some type of chrome. We've got the threads there. It's a fairly long section, which makes the step down from the barrel and those threads not really an issue. Now I really have to screw that cap back in place, otherwise I can hardly hold it. Because it's fairly long, it's easy to hold. You don't really notice that step or the threads. They are a little sharp. I do feel them in my skin right now when I hold them like this. But during writing I don't, because I can hold the pen, you know, a bit lower, and you don't feel anything, the threads or whatever. Sorry, that's very good. All right, writing performance. Oh, maybe I should say one more thing. Filling system. It's a standard international cartridge, and that's the only thing. That's the only thing you can put in there. I tried a Monteverde mini converter. That is too long. I mean, this is the barrel, right? And it screws on all the way up to there. So even a Monteverde mini converter has a piston that sticks out. And then I thought that Kaweco mini, you know, that Kaweco converter, which is sort of aerometric, sounded like a great idea, but it doesn't work. It doesn't fit in to the section, so you can put it on there, but it would be very loose. And possibly it's held in place by the barrel, because I think it's about that size, but it would be very loose. If it gets dislodged, ink may spill in this section. I wouldn't go there. And the worst bit is it's just not tight. You know, it's just loose. It doesn't click on there or anything. So probably it's going to be cartridges and refilling cartridges for this pen, unless you turn this into an eyedropper, and I have no idea whether that's a good idea. I see some black stuff, but I see metal in there and it's connected. This may leak like crazy. I haven't tried that. Alright. So, nice pen, looks cool. What do I like about it? What do I not like about it? Well, I love the design. I think it's really cool. I think it looks cool. It looks distinguished. For some reason, you have near the end of the cap, you have this sort of flare going on, which reminds me a little bit of some of those yard lead pens, which have that. It's like a column, you know, of a building, which is interesting. So I like that. I like the brown. I like the spring-loaded clip. I like the way it's constructed, so that you can really write comfortably with it when you post the pen. But there was also one thing I didn't like about it, and that's that when I got it, the nib was really, really dry, and I put in the cartridge. I really made sure there was ink flowing into the section and all that stuff, and it would hardly write. It would write when I applied some pressure, so that suggests that there may be something with the alignment of the tines. They were perfectly aligned, they were not scratchy, but they were too tight. We've talked about that before. What you would really like, if you would look at a nib, you know, you would hold it to the light, you should see a narrow beam of light just pass between your tines, and you would like them to just not touch. The tips should just not touch. It should be a very narrow gap, so there should be some tapering going on in that gap, and the tip should just not touch. And with this nib, they did. Now, a while ago I did a review of the Rosetta. I was going to say Monteverde, sorry, but the Rosetta Napoleon, and it had the exact same thing. Now, if you have a look at that nib, and you have a look at this nib of the new pen, separated at birth. Yeah, the two are very much alike. I think they're from the same factory. Oh, sorry, I'm not in focus. Well, you don't really miss much of my face, do you? There we go. Alright, so it's possible that these nibs are from the same factory because the two of them look almost identical and had the exact same problem. They were too dry. You can solve that. And I'm not saying that all of these pens will be dry. I've only tried one. So maybe if you purchase one, it's going to be as wet as can be. But mine wasn't. So when you're going to look at the writing sample, I've worked on that nib because it hardly wrote. So it's not the nib out of the box. It's the nib that is tuned and tuned so that it actually writes properly. I've made it wetter. It's easy to do. I have videos on that. I guide you through the whole process in that the review of that Rosetta Napoleon pen. So check that out if you're interested. And you know what? That's all there's to it. Apart from that, there isn't really anything I don't like about the pen. I wonder if at some point this may develop cracks because the cap, there is no center band there, and you screw it onto something. So I would recommend not screwing something on there very tightly because you may actually crack the material. There's no protection against cracks, so just make sure it's on there and then don't overdo it. And I really think that's all there's to it. So what you need to see is the pen in action, albeit with a somewhat fine-tuned nib. I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye. Alright, writing with the Monteverde Mini Jewelria. Let's do some writing. We have the Monteverde, which now writes the way I like it to write. It was quite dry when I got it. This is better. The nib is a medium. I cannot say anything about the ink. The ink is just the cartridge that came with it, which is black, so Monteverde black, I'm assuming, but that's all I can say. The quick brown fox, that's something else I can say. He jumps. Did you know that? I bet you didn't. Over the lazy dog. And we can also do that a bit faster to see how well the feed keeps up. It says lazy, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is that I saw some skips. Maybe there a bit, the upstrokes. Apart from that, it seems to be pretty much under control. A little bit there. It's a relatively wet nib, but as I said, I've tuned it up a bit, so it's not like this out of the box. At least mine wasn't. Alright, what about wetness? Of course, that's a factor of the ink too, but this is not the most absorbent paper. It's very smooth and nice. So there is some wetness going on. What about flexibility? Looks good. You can squeeze out some line variation. We should do some reverse writing because some people are interested in that. So as you can see, the nib is very dry like that. I'm really applying pressure. It's not that I'm not doing anything. The pen was a little better than this when I got it, but when I got it and I wrote the normal way, it was only a little bit more saturated than this. So it was really very dry. Maybe that was just mine, but yeah, well, just saying. Alright, I think that concludes our business. So I hope this was useful, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.